Hey guys, it's GHP, and welcome to another Eternal Deck Tech video. Today, we are working on, or I guess doing a deck tech on, Feln Aggro. Now, today's deck is inspired by a deck that I believe in set 1. It was pre-Rapid Chat nerf, where Rapid Chat used to cost 1 power instead of now it's 2. Yes, this card used to be insane. Where people were playing this Feln Tempo deck, which was an aggressively selected Feln deck that relied on Whispering Wind to dig it through the deck, and just played a lot of decent value creatures, and people really enjoyed that deck, and it really fell off the map once we had the Rapid Chat nerf, and a lot of people have tried to make it work each set, but now I think we're at a point where I'm not embarrassed to play this deck anymore. So I've been playing it a bunch recently, so when it sends it to me, and we've changed probably 15 or 16 cards from that list now. And let's just jump into it. So the new set give us Sludge, which is a really interesting one drop, but really this is like a 1 mana 2/3 most of the time, pretty easily. And I believe the biggest it could get is a 5/6, which is phenomenal. I think this card is quite good, and I think in aggressive decks, it can find a home if those decks should not play cards like Reddited Drone. Instead, just playing cards that are actually just big on each mana slot, which we currently are. Gave us Territorial Elf, which is a super explosive, aggressive unit. It's great with our rapid shots too. Gave us Merchants for consistency and anti-flood, and then it also gave us our Rindra choice to substitute in our market. Let's just jump into why we have each card here. We're a very unit-heavy aggro deck with 41 units. The hands where you draw like a bunch of spells, you basically scoop a lot of the time, but we only have 9 of them in total. The odds of that are very, very low. You want like 3-ish. Basically, your best hand is like 3 power, 3 units at an interactive spell. It's kind of what you want each game. But this deck can deal with a lot of weak hands, especially with its marketed Crystallize. So we have our 12 1-drops. Snowcrust Yetis normally your turn 1 play if you don't have the Sludge. Sludge is always your turn 1 play if it's your if you have options. But Sludge allows you to snowball as you keep playing more and more units. Snowcrust Yeti is just an amazing 1-drop. Skycrag Aggro's been using it for so long. A 1-drop Aegis unit is amazing. It's great against board wipes. It's great if your war cards hit it. It's just a good card. Twilight Raptor is more of a 2-drop, where we only have 4 Seed of Cunning as the only way to play it on turn 1. But that's fine with our other 1-drops. And this card is just really good. A 1 mana 2/2 flyer is great. It's great if your war cards hit it off Ripknife. And it's just getting that extra couple of points in could easily win you games. I think this card is quite good, and I think this is the type of deck that wants it. In our 2-drop slot, we have 15 of them. We have 4 Argenport Instigator. This card has obviously gotten worse with nerfs, where this used to cost 1 shadow. But this card's really good still, and the effect on this card is a upside for this deck, as we are the aggressor normally. Which means a 2 mana 3/3 with upside. For those of you who've been playing with Teacher Ability, you know that's good. So yeah, this card might be a little hard to cast sometimes, but really it's a 2-drop that we can play most of the time, and if not, it's a 3-drop. We have Ripknife Assassin, which is just an amazing 2-drop. Deadly Warcry is such a nice combination on an aggressive unit, and this card will end games by itself. There are plenty of games as well where your opponent has to trade off their 5 or 6-drop for this card, and that's just great. We have Territorial Elf. It's just a very, very aggressive unit. It's a card you want to find one of in most games. And if you could stick like a rapid shot on this, you just deal 14. And that's absurd on like turn 3. We have 3 Whispering Wind. I don't have 4 because I don't want to flood out on these cards. And this card is really powerful, where we can toss over our power, that's like, you know, our 5th or 6th power we can get rid of. We can also toss away things like extra 1-drops, so we're looking for like some top end or removal, things like that. And this is a card you just want to have when the game extends anywhere past like turn 4. We have 2 Daring Pioneers. They're here for a couple of reasons. 1, I don't want to play Backlash. I want to play more units instead. 2, I can hit it off Whispering Wind really easily. And it's also just a 3 mana 4/4. It's a good body with a good effect. And if we come down, answer your Hailstorm, answer your Harsh Rule, that's great. And if it time walks somebody because they have to give me their Seek Power, their Rise to the Challenge, whatever, so they can cast their major card, that's also good. For merchants, we chose the Primal one, just I like the Primal cards more in this deck. And the merchants are just great. When we flood out, we can get rid of power. When we are against control, we can get our Rindra's Choice, our Nightmare. If we need just a piece of interaction, we can easily get Perma or Substitute. And then Crystallize, this just... Sometimes this deck doesn't get there. Sometimes your draw just kind of starts on turn 3 and you gotta stall the board and then you win with Crystallize. You get Crystallize fairly often and Crystallize is still very good. We have 4 Midnight Gales because this card is great. Hasn't really found a home because... Holy crap. Well, there goes my voice. 4 Midnight Gales, great unit. Does die to Torch, does die to Vanquish, but it's great against aggro, and it's also good at ending the game. Where not all of our units fly, and sometimes we simply just need to fly over our opponent. That's the same reason we have Impending Doom. One nice thing is if we toss any 3-drop, we always get Impending Doom off of Whispering Wind, which is great, because this sometimes is just way better than, say, Pioneer or Merchant. Alright, for our spells, I'm on 2 Perma, and 3 Annihilate as removal. I don't want to be flush with removal, and Sandstorm Titan is one of the bigger cards for us, which is why I have more Annihilate. We have the 3rd Perma in our market, just in case. And then we have 4 Rapid Shots. We're an aggressive deck. It's great at getting damage through. It can be a burn spell. It just kills people with Elf. One thing to note is we're playing 0 Crests, 0 Monuments, 0 of the new Spell Monuments. We don't want depleted power. Period. And because we have things like Whispering Wind and the Merchant for when we flood, I don't care about those cards as much. Our market is mostly answers and then Nightmares here for control decks. I think this is the most questionable part of the deck right now, as I think most markets are not perfect yet, including mine. But I think this is a solid build of this deck for the in the current metagame. This deck is also solid against the time decks, unless they just completely explode all over your face, which sometimes happens, but there are draws that those time decks have that no deck can beat. This deck is fine to control with Pioneer, Aegis units, market for interaction, things like that. This deck kind of feels fine in everything. It's probably not going to be the deck that crushes the metagame, but I think a build very close to this is the right build, and I've been very happy with this deck. So let's go jump into some games and hope that we can do better than some of our previous decks. The best we've done so far is 3-2. We can do better than that. This deck's better than that.